So this one's really useful when you want to make more of a lighter wash of a colour. So if you imagine you were painting with watercolour or acrylic, you would have a little bit of your pigment and you would add some extra water to it. Well, this is how we can use the clear medium. So you could take a small piece of any of your colours, add on the clear medium, and it will give you a lighter wash of that colour. So that's really handy for that. Really great for stamps as well. So if you want to make cards or anything, you cover your stamp with clear wax and then you kind of blend your colours in around it. So really good for using for those purposes. Obviously you can't see it because it's just clear, but it just helps you to thin those colours down. Next up, bronze metallic. That's much like the golds and silvers really. Again, lovely when you kind of just add a little bit to these colours up here, your browns and your rustics. I mean, of the three metallics, if I had to choose, I would always go for the silver. That's my favourite. But yeah, all three have their place. Pearlescent. This is a really kind of white, it's just got a shimmer to a white colour. So it's a bit of a cross between white cream and silver, I suppose. Well, yeah, but just a bit of a shimmer to it. It's quite subtle, but in the right uses it can be really quite lovely. If you can just see, it just gives you that really soft, gentle glimmer. Really nice if you use it on coloured cards. So maybe if you've got black card or some of your coloured cards, can be really good and effective on that. You don't tend to notice it as much on the white colours, but as a highlighter it's really good. Pastel orange. The pastel ones, some I've got some real favourites. Pastel orange isn't one I tend to use too much. Sometimes when I'm doing flower work, I'll use a bit of pastel orange on flowers. I tend to do a lot more seascapes and scenes, so it's not a colour that I personally use a lot in my art, but you know, many people do. This one is an absolute all-time favourite, pastel blue. It is lovely for mixing really if you want to mix a really lovely sky with an iron. If you take a white, a little bit of pastel blue and a little bit of pink and wipe that across your page, and you can get some really lovely really pastel lovely skies and seas and things. So yeah, that's one of my definite favourites. Lilac is another one that I use quite a lot. It's just a really lovely colour. Again, this one mixes really nicely with this one. So yeah, between your pastel lilacs, your pinks and your red violet, those are a really good colour combination. Quite soft and subtle. Probably don't use it as much as the pastel blue, but I do like it very much. Pastel mint is another one of the pastels that I tend to use a little touch, but with the blue very often. It really lifts it. So if you have your pastel blue down here with a little bit of pastel mint in it, that could be a nice colour combination mix there. And of course all of this is just as limitless as your imagination really. Pastel coral, not a colour I use very much at all, again, but I think that's a personal preference thing. It's just not a colour that I tend to use. It's a bit like the pastel orange. It's just not much in use in my artwork, but quite nice. It'd be good if you're using it for skin tones and things. But yeah, not one of my all-time faves, but then again, that's just a personal thing. Pastel cream is just a little bit more creamy than your white. There's not very much difference between it. But again, nice for skies and things. Yeah, that one's picked up a few. Slightly cleaner one. It's picked up a few lumps of wax along the way. So now we get onto our neons. Now, these are interesting. You get some really quite cool colours, and I was quite excited by them when I first used them. But when I used them with the iron, I was quite disappointed because they were quite gritty. When you're applying, say for example, the red violets or some of these really strong vivid colours, they go on really, really smoothly. And I found that all of the neons had, it's almost like a gritty texture to them. And I didn't use them for a very, very long time. You can actually probably see it with the pink a little bit more. If you can see, it's kind of going on, but it's a bit rough really. It's not going on as smoothly as we did, for example, up here with the crimsons. So yeah, it just doesn't apply as smoothly. But I've found a couple of different uses for them. So I'm going to keep going with all of these. So I find the same with all of the neons. They just don't apply as smoothly. But I had a lady in for a workshop, and so I used to kind of just tuck them away and not really bring them out because they just weren't my favourites. But she was using them one evening and she absolutely loved them. So I have moved away from that fact that my favourites might not be somebody else's. All she used all night were the neon reds and oranges, and she absolutely loved them. She loved the grit in them and she liked that texture. So you know, because I like them to go on smoothly doesn't mean to say that anybody else does. But what I have used them a lot for since, once I started using them a lot more, was for highlights on floral pictures. So if I'm doing a picture of flowers or anything, what I'll often do is flick with my stylus, and it really just brings that picture to life and really kind of makes it zing. So they're really pretty good actually for florals. If you imagine a big kind of field of flowers and then you kind of got these really lovely splatters of bright neon colours all over, they can really, really make your painting in behind lift up. So yeah, we've got neon pink, orange, yellow, green and blue, so and red. So you've got 6 there. Is that 2, 4? Yeah, you've got 6 different neons. So yeah, there is a place for them, and they can be quite cool. I'll just show you the neon blue a moment. Put the stuff together. So you can see with that one, it's not nearly as deep, if you like. It's not as strong as some of the other blues that we've had. So we then got onto some of our mixes. So now mixes by their name are exactly what they're designed to be mixed with other colours, and these all tend to be a really strong colour. So where some of these have been quite light and not very strong, you'll find that these get much, much stronger. So this is a really nice red. It's got slightly more of a pinky hue to the crimson that we had at the top. You can see that, but yeah, that's a nice one for mixing with. Mixes really nicely with the lemon yellow. So yeah, that's a goodie. But yeah, I mean, you don't have to have all of these. I mean, once you've kind of got, so whatever you go for, try and choose a selection of really strong colours, and then some in the middle and maybe some lighter ones. So bright red mixer, again, that's quite a nice one. It's quite strong. This is where I find now these are getting very similar to, so you've got your bright red, which is this one. It tends to be, yeah, very traditionally red, not as strong as the crimson, I would say. I would say the crimson is stronger. This one is as strong, but it's more of a pinky hue to it. Mid lemon mixer, you can see they'll pick up these, see these odd bits of wax that they pick up. They either just scrape off, or we just wipe them off with the iron when you come to use them. That's just sort of how these waxes seem to go. So our mid yellow mixer, so you see all of these down here now are in the vivid pack. This mid yellow mixer it's a really lovely one actually, but not really dissimilar to the lemon yellow. That's slightly more of a bright yellow. This one's slightly deeper, but not too much difference between the two. But I use them both a lot. I mean, when I first started out, I was really sort of just building up my wax supplies really slowly, so I was really careful to choose which ones I went for. I mean, now that I've been using it for a while and know to continue using, I would have bought all of them in one go, but I wasn't in a position to do that at the very beginning. So I'm hoping by doing this it will just help you to decide what colours you want to go for. Just helps to make a choice. This is a sap green mixer. Again, not that dissimilar to olive green, so if you had to make a choice, you know, either one of those two. This one is slightly, I would say, more greeny. This is more of an earthy, natural colour. Personally, I tend to prefer the olive green, but there's very little between them. They're both nice for nature, you know, florals or countryside scenes. Down to the last few. Sorry, I know this has gone on quite a bit now, but I'm hoping you'll find it helpful. So this is a cyan blue mixer. Really nice, strong blue. Not dissimilar to some of our other ones up here. So you can see there's a lot, although there's a lot of blues, they're actually, you know, they're not that dissimilar. So if you need to make a choice, don't go panicking about which one you've gone for. I would probably go for the cyan blue or the Prussian, personally, if I had a choice, if I was looking for a really strong colour. These two are slightly less strong in terms of blues. Yeah, but all good. This one is a definite favourite. This is called Indigo Mixer, and it's a really, really lovely dark blue. If you can see that, but when it comes out on paper, it looks almost black here, but you get these really lovely lights and darks with it, and it's just gorgeous. That's one of my definite favourites. Really good as well. So if you're doing a sea scene and you've got these lighter blues, if you want to get some darker shadows in there, that's really good for that. And then last but not least, we've got the purple mixer. Oops. So this is a really good strong colour as well. Nice for mixing. You might remember we had I think it was, so that's your purple mixer. We had a violet blue up here earlier, which is a similar purple colour. But this one is much stronger, much deeper colour than the other purple violet blue that we had. So there you go. I'm going to hold this up so that you can screenshot, hopefully, and I'm hoping that the colour will come out okay for you, so hopefully you can screenshot that if you want to look at it, and it might just help you just make a choice if you have to choose between what colours you're going to go for. It just might help you make a choice between some of the others. A quick rundown so you can have a look slowly. And if you really can't decide, then I think what I'll do is I'll put together my personal favourite colours, one block of 16 of the ones that I would personally go for, and then it saves all of the deliberating and deciding which ones you'd go for, and then you can kind of add them in differently after that. Hope you found that helpful.